Toops. Hopefully you're enjoying that intro music. Oh, that's how you start a lesson off with more power. Today we're going to write equations of lines. That'll make you smile. Let me open it up if it's possible. Open. There we go. So we're going to do equations of lines right here. This is going to be a blast. Guarantee it. Okay, on this one right here, what we're going to do today is we're going to be given a graph and a table, and we're going to write equations of lines from that, okay? The TEK says you got to be able to write the equation of a line, give it a graph, a table, or a point. So we're going to take a graph and a table and generate an equation. Kind of did this in 8th grade. So remember, we're going to write the equation all in slope-intercept form today. As we go through this, we'll change this up. But today we're going to write all of this in y equal mx plus b. And remember, m is the slope and b is your y-intercept. This paper will be pretty simple, especially the front. All we need to do is figure out the y-intercept of the slope, and boom, we got our line. Okay, so let's go to number 1. So number 1, the first thing you want to do is dot the y-intercept. So on number 1, we're going to dot the y-intercept right here and then label it. So our y-intercept will be -5 on it. And this is the tricky part. Okay, I'm going to zoom in so you can kind of see this. So Mr. Toops has more power. Okay, follow the line. Right here, it does not go through that grid point, does it? We got to find out where this line goes exactly through a grid point. It doesn't go through here, doesn't go through here. Right here, the line crosses the grid point. So I'm going to dot that grid point. So the line will go from here to here, won't it? Now then, we need to figure out the slope. Please do it this way. The slope tells you to go up or down and to the right. So to go from the left dot to the right dot, I need to go up and to the right. Always go up or down to the right, please. It'll make your life easier. So to get from this dot to this dot, I need to go up 3 and to the right 4, don't I? Okay, so my slope, let it unblur here. So over here to the right, I'm going to put down my b equals -5 and my m equals 3/4. So you're going to use your graph, you're going to find your y-intercept, you're going to calculate your slope, write this down, and then just write the equation. So the equation would be y equals 3/4x minus 5. That is not that difficult. Piece of cake, right? So step 1 is to identify the y-intercept. Then you go up or down to the right and you find that next grid point. Okay, and you want to make those grid points go all the way across. On this one right here, we only have 2 grid points. Okay, let's do number 5. Okay, on number 5, first thing we want to do is dot the y-intercept in it. So I'm going to put a dot right here, won't I? So my y-intercept, if I want, I could go over here and put b equals 1, right? Now we got to find the m, don't we? So I'm going to go to this line and I'm going to zoom in so we can see. The line doesn't cross here, here, but right here it goes through that grid point, doesn't it? So I'm going to dot this one. Now then, I could go backwards up here and it goes through this dot too, doesn't it? So I'm going to dot every single grid point I can. Now then, how do I go from left to right? Remember, you read a slope from left to right. To go from the left to the right, I'm going to go down 1 and over 4. Since I'm going down, this will be a -1. So I'm going down 1, -4, to the right 4, +4. So my slope is going to end up being -1/4. That makes my equation y equals -1/4x plus 1. Like I said, you did this last year, so this should not be that difficult, okay? So we're going to identify the y-intercept, get all of the grid points you can, and then figure out what your slope is. Remember, you always go up or down first to the right. Your slope, we need to write this at the top so you remember it. Let it unclear. Your slope equals up or down over right. Please don't forget that. So your slope is going to be up or down over right. Okay, and you should be able to finish the rest of these on your own. This isn't that difficult. Turn the page. Oh. This is some more power work. Okay, now then this is going to be a little tricky because we got to figure out the y-intercept or the starting number, and some of them don't have that. So I'm going to teach you a way to do that. Okay, we're going to write all of the equations in y equal mx plus b. Okay, so step one is to find the slope. Okay, so let's go to this problem right here. I can pick any 2 points for the slope, and I'm just going to be tough. I'm going to pick the one with the biggest numbers. I'm going to pick these two for my slope. Remember, slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You're just going to pick 2 points and plug them in. Make sure these two numbers are from the same point and these two. So let's get the slope of this one. So I'm going to do 32 minus 23 over, the 32's matched up with the 8, so the 8 goes right under that, minus 5, right? So I'm going to do 32 minus 23 over 8 minus 5. If you have an Inspire calculator, you can type that in and bam, it gives you the answer. This is going to end up being 9 over 3, so my slope is going to be m equals 3. Everyone with me? Now then, we do not know what well, we kind of do. If you know what you're doing here, you do know the y-intercept is going to be 8 because you got 0, 8, right? Most of the problems will not have a 0 in the table, so this is how you do it. Pick any point in here, and let's pick this one. So put an x by the 2 and a y by the 14. Now then, write down y equals mx plus b. Please do all the problems like this one. This one, hopefully you know that the y-intercept's 8. Okay, now then, I know what my y is, it's 14. I know my m is 3. I know my x is 2, but I do not know the b. So I'm going to plug these numbers into this equation and find out what b is. Okay, so the y is going to be 14 equals my m is 3 and my x is 2 plus b. Everyone see what I just did there? I'm going to zoom in. So I replace the y with 14. I replace my m with 3. And I replace my x with 2, and I don't know what the b is. The b should end up being this 8, because that's our starting number. Now then, we're going to do 3 times 2 and move it over. So 3 times 2 is 6. And if I move over that 6, I will end up with b equals 8, won't it? So right here, my m is equal to 3, my b is equal to 8, and my equation is 3x plus 8. So if you multiply any of these x's by 3 and add 8 to it, you get your y's. For instance, 3 times 5 is 15, 15 plus 8 is 23. That's how these numbers are generated from that table. This right here would be your function rule to generate that table. And notice the 8 ends up being that number. If this x is 0, this right here is your y-intercept, right? That's basically going to be your starting number. That's what it is when x is 0. I think that's the only one with an x 0. That is the only one. So we'll do one more. Let's go down and do number 5. Let's technically, to get the slope, you want to use the easier numbers, don't you? Okay, so to get our slope, I'm going to use these numbers. So I'm going to do 11 minus 7 over 9 minus 3. So over here on the right, I'm going to put 11 minus 7 over 9 minus 3. If you have a TI Inspire calculator, you can type that right into the calculator. Bam! It gives you the answer. This turns into 4 over 6. And 4 over 6 would simplify to 2 over 3. So I know that my slope is 2 over 3. Now then, pick the easiest numbers. So I'm going to pick this for my x and this for my y. So I know my y, my x, and my m, don't I? Write out y equals mx plus b. I'm going to replace the y with 7. I'm going to replace my m with 2/3. Parentheses, my x is 3 plus b. Okay? Bam! We got this. Now then, you might have to do 2/3 times 3 on your calculator. 2/3 times 3 is 2. So write down 7 equals 2 plus b. Now then, I can move this over, and I'm going to get 5 equals b, aren't I? So I know my b is 5. Now that my equation is just going to be 2 over 3x plus 5, right? Piece of cake. So step 1, pick any 2 points, get the slope. Step 2, pick an x and a y. Step 3 is to write down y equal mx plus b. Step 4, to replace the y, the m, and the b, or the x, and then solve for b. And then you write your equation. Bam! That's so much fun. You're going to have a blast doing this. And remember, always believe. And my favorite picture is, oh, you are awesome. Oh, oh, oh.